just so everyone knows, you're now on recording, and here in just a few moments, it'll be live.
Yeah.
You got one foot down there? Okay, we are now recording and we are now live on Facebook.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Doing our budget workshop for the town of Unicoi for the fiscal year 2020-2021. Debbie,
Yes.
do you want to lead us in this?
Okay, I just thought I would go through and just give you a brief explanation of what you have in your book. The first section that you have should be, it's a sample ordinance from the comptroller's office. It's a little bit different than the format that has been used by the town of Unicoi. We're going to go ahead and use this format for the May and June budget ordinance that we will have first and second reading on. It's a little bit different, and of course, we'll just have the general fund, drug fund, and the MHK fund, but it also has estimated fund balances by fund, and it has your debt, what's been issued, what's outstanding, and basically your principal and interest payment. It also has capital expenditures. If you have a project that you'll be doing for that coming budget year, it also will detail that on this ordinance, and you'll have an approximate cost for that as well. This did have your budget ordinance and property tax rate ordinance together. However, since we don't have the property tax, I have deleted that and I have removed that section from the ordinance. And the other thing that's on here that's a little bit different is that on the 5th page, if you look at section 6, it does ask the board to vote on an amount that can be transferred in line items in the budget, and you can set a certain limit at that point, and you will vote on that as well. That's the only differences that we have on this ordinance that came from the comptroller's office. Well, I mean, it would be whatever you would feel comfortable with without having to come from, to the board. I mean, it's not a change of appropriation. It's just a line item transfer. In the past, I think we did maybe, I think we had done maybe 20,000 or 10,000. Just depends on what you feel comfortable with us doing a line item move. It's not a change in appropriation or anything like that. It's just moving. In the second session, I think I emailed you all a copy of this. This is coming from Governor Lee's extra money that he had in his general fund budget and reserve. And it talks about that grant. And on the 3rd page, it talks about how you can spend that. Whether it be hardware upgrades, capital maintenance, utility system upgrades, road projects, public safety, or the COVID-19 response. I also gave a list of what the town of Unicoi can get, and it's $108,939. I didn't copy all the towns in there, just ours. Put a copy of the application and the fact sheets and what we have to do. We will have to approve a resolution for this to accept the 108 and tell exactly what we're going to do with that money. We will need to include it in our 2021 budget. And also we need to supply a W-9 with these forms and the application. So we'll have to do that as well. That's also going to require resolution. The next section is the budget. And I have, the department heads come in at specific times in the afternoon to go over their particular departments. And we have the general fund in there, MHK. I do not have the drug fund yet. Hopefully I'll have that by the next workshop. It will not be much, but we do have to have a drug fund. Because Andy has made some arrests and it involves, drug situation. Okay, and then the next section, I did the list of and a copy of the letters, which I think I emailed you ahead of time so that you would be able to take a look at that as well. And then the last section, I have the work projects, the road projects that's been updated since the mayor and Harry Haynes, county highway superintendent, has gone over the roads and we've prioritized, and so you'll have that information as well. I was telling them this morning that on the budget, I know that the copies that I had sent to you all had left the BMA approved budget column empty. I wanted to see, like I said, what if we're making adjustments to the sales tax, state share taxes, what if it came down? I don't have final numbers on what they're projecting for the state shared. I only have a couple. And I did reduce the local sales tax, local option by 20%. I'm just trying to be, conservative and see, what if we left all of our expenses the same as what they requested, but we lowered some of those tax items. I know the gas is probably going to go down as well. We had heard, of maybe a possible drop in a lot higher than the 20%. So that's why I used the 20%, trying to be a little bit conservative on local option sales tax. I have no idea. I don't think anyone has ever faced a situation like what we're facing right now. I do not have any increases for any salaries in the budget. That will be, your all's decision, whatever you all want to do with that. And like I said, everybody, this is what I want. This is what I want, and it's requested, and they put in their, what they wanted in their budget. And so, everybody can take a look at them and see what they are. And like I said, Lee will be here at 1 o'clock to present her kitchen fund budget. And Ashley will do hers at 2 o'clock, Park and Rec and the other ones that she's over. And then Andy will be here at 3 to kind of take a look at his budget. His budget is in the general fund budget where it should be. It's not separate like it was last year. So we've included that in here. And if you all want to maybe go through and take a look at the revenues, take a look at the appropriations, whatever you all want to do.
Terry, give us an estimate on one. Would y'all want to road? Give us an estimate on what prior to
Cost estimate.
He did give us some estimates on the FEMA roads, which I have here. Now that was done in August, the fall of August, 2019. So I have that. We don't know how this is all going to pan out with FEMA. So
Yeah. I'm tired of waiting on
and we still have a section of Whispering Pines to finish. We did 2/3 of it in the fall. We have another third to finish, and then we need to stripe it. So I'm hoping that we can kind of finish Whispering Pines in this fiscal year, get it striped, and then move on to whatever you all,
I'm wondering if the price of gasoline going down. Like, if that will affect the price back.
an offset travel expense and all that stuff.
Well, that's nice. That's yet to be seen. It's another one of these things you just don't know. There's a possibility that there could be a decrease in the
Well, have you heard
price.
of asphalt, that we still want to be out there?
Well, and that's another problem we've got is the asphalt plant was shut down and we are not sure that we're gonna be able to get asphalt out there. It's not likely. We may have to start getting it over it. Let's see.
It's Bluntville, I believe.
And it's gonna cost more.
Oh, yeah, so that fuel was what you would say was
That-
that and probably
It
more.
might help a little bit, you know, if the price of it, if the asphalt goes down, what we haul it. It's gonna go up, so it may balance itself out a little bit.
Yes, it's in the fuel stays down. That's about it, for sure.
Okay, Debbie, do you wanna, start out with the top line item and just go down through there?
Okay, we'll start with the revenues.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, like I said, I took the requested amount was what the numbers we had before the pandemic happened. So we had 865,000 requested for local option sales tax. And again, I reduced that by 20%. Wholesale beer, wholesale liquor, that is the amounts that we get from the distributors that pay us so much each month on sales. I don't see that going down. Everything that I've heard is that the alcohol sales are up. They've increased. The next section where we have retail liquor store permits, that's our $500 a year for each liquor store. That's not going to change. The beer license, that's for each beer permit that we have for the 3 beer places. Building permits, you know, I don't know. I know that they were coming in pretty good in the fall before winter, so I'm looking at that probably being around 6,200. See about that. The cell tower permit renewal fees, that shouldn't change. Drive mode permits, that's pretty low. Utility cut permits, I think that runs about the same each year.
Before you go too far, can we go back up to, I just, sorry, wholesale liquor alcohol tax, you decreased it. Was it again that? Was that a 20% decrease or do we think?
Well, actually, from the amended budget, it was 30,000, so it is an increase for the next year. The 4,000.
Oh, okay. I skipped one.
Oh, that's okay. I understand. I understand perfectly. Municipal court, Andy has projected $40,000 for municipal court fines. He can probably talk more about that. Interest, you know, I've lowered it some. I know it's gone down. It may go down even farther, but I was trying to be a little bit conservative with what we're projecting for this year. You know, it's up, but you know, it started to go down. These new GL accounts, they're highlighted in kind of a light tan. That's Ashley wanted to have more revenue line items so she can determine, you know, how much for t-shirt sales, t-shirt sponsors, and visitor merchandise, things like that. So I went ahead and added those new ones for her. I'm not going to go through each one of these, but then moving on down to the state sales tax, that's about I think 19% reduction. That number came from UT so you can see the drop in that as well. All income tax will in 2021 will go totally away. As you can see it going down each year. The beer tax that comes from our state share, these are mainly state shared revenues. And like I said, everything that I hear, it is going up a little bit. Still try to be conservative. The interstate mowing contract, that's going to be around 45,000. I don't think that's going to change. I talked to them last week, and they're going to keep that amount the same. We lowered the state gasoline fuel tax because that's probably going to take a hit.
And you've been low, nobody's using it. It keeps like this and not nobody.
Well, yeah, there's no place to go.
When we talk about sport, you don't know what can happen. Oh, either if it's in the background or anything like that.
Yeah. Hard.
So basically, with those reductions, what was requested was at 584,808, and that was before all this happened. All those numbers came before, and then so now you're looking at 515,000. In the next section, it's your grant revenues. The three highlighted in tan, those are new. That's what Andy feels, that he can get in grants. Some of the ones that you might see repeated from the previous year, he was a little late getting on board to get those. So he feels confident that he can do that. We've got the ARC Buffalo Valley Connector that should be going out for bid soon. That's where we re-scope the whole project and have it rebid. The amphitheaters, right, 248,000. Again, we're in the engineering phase and actually making some changes to that, bringing it up closer to the pavilion. And instead of it being on a flat concrete slab, it should be raised up. And I'm thinking, Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, was it about 3 feet? Raising it up 3 feet? Okay. The CTPG, that's the trail extension between Irwin and the county. We've spent, very little on that project right now. So, and I don't know, that's kind of in a holding phase, I'm sure. This is a TDOT project as well. On the RW Estates Bridge, we talked with Jill Workman, and she's telling us that probably that project's going to be about 496,000. We will not get any revenue from that this year, and I think I'm projecting that we're going to spend about 55,000 between now and the end of the year. When I say end of the year, I'm talking about June 30th. We will not get reimbursed for any of those expenditures until the project is bid out.
So we will get reimbursed for all.
It is 100% reimbursement, but we have to pay for it up front and get reimbursed. She does think that the project will be finished at the end of the calendar year.
We did that one time before, after you're doing the bridge, or before that probably state.
Well, I think this one was redoing everything, and it's going to be, top of the line, from what I understand.
Well, his reason, I think the reason for that, he said he wants to make the money off of it, sure. His reason, there's a lot of land on the other side of that bridge that eventually could be developed. And so he was recommending that bridge. Looking down the road.
Like when his on another bridge like that. This one's going to hit on that.
Okay, and then I went ahead and put in the Governor Lee's state grant, the 108,939 in the grant section. for that.
That's when you're saying we can use for.
It can be for IT upgrades, capital, one-time capital expenditures, roof repair, renovations, road projects, repaving, that sort of
Well, how about the
Yeah, we heard
culverts?
him
How
on
about the culverts?
Roger's
Those
house, he's in Baxter.
thing. Actually, it does say that, drainage issues with, repair, if you're protecting a street and there's drainage issues, you can't, it does qualify for something like that.
So you're saying going down in front of Massachusetts, on that left side where we're having some problems there with drainage, we could work on that on this grant.
That's what I understand whenever I read it. If it's drainage issues to protect, to fix a street,
It's not designed well on that left side.
No, there's no ditch.
Yeah.
One guy filled his ditch up.
I was gonna ask you about the other day, or they want to really get to her. I saw him do it.
Which one was it?
David Holman, I think we're, across the rail tracks on the right. Go down the street.
Yeah.
Feel it's on the beach, out there. I'll let you there, but it won't be blocked up burning right. Our streets house.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I saw him, I pulled down there, I saw him big out. Road block. All that in. Back in, all that stuff. First stop. Back up. We come to town hall, here come to town hall, that's, you get the meter and then get David Holman.
not that I'm aware of.
Massachusetts.
We turned down other people.
Yeah. Did you look in that?
It's
But all that friends house, we learned to fix it back, grass, all this stuff.
Well, I did notice some thing I thought maybe had a waterfall, but
I
I'm
didn't
not
drop
in
it,
it. I
a
understand.
big thing. This could turn into something that's all the way out there.
Well, we made them take it up that year.
I told you, we did.
Okay, go ahead, Debbie.
Okay, that's pretty much, all of the revenue items. You want to continue on down?
Fun part.
Yeah, there's not any changes in legislative. More in the city attorney. The judicial services, obviously, we're, budgeting for a full year for the judge.
It gives a correction right there on the, what the total is, city attorney, even though 4116 and 41,200 section
Oh, I see. Yeah, it needs to be changed.
Time.
That was probably copied from that section up there and
What line item?
41, 299, there's a typo down there.
it should be judicial expenses instead of city. It was just copied from the section above. Okay. The total title.
Right.
You can change the titles and if you want to.
I was just letting her know it was there.
It's a joke, it's a joke.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
The only other change that, I guess in the central staff, which would be, the town clerk, which is now a 24-hour position, and hoping to have someone, hired to do, financial accounting. And then we also, as you recall, we voted to, do maintenance, computer maintenance on a monthly basis. And I've highlighted that because that's a new line item. Also, in accounting and auditing services, that $20,000, that includes not just the audit, but also the monthly financial overseer.
Travis,
Travis,
Overseer, you know, overseer, like.
So
I've
what,
seen the overseer.
what I would like to do is probably revisit that because it's $12,000 a year. And see if we can do maybe a quarterly thing, or a year-end thing to where, we can reduce that cost a little bit.
I have a question on the town clerk.
Okay.
What rate of pay was that calculated on? How much are we paying her now?
It's $15.75.
Okay, I think you got it calculated on based on
Well, okay, I may have that.
Yeah.
I think I adjusted her hours down 24. But I also added in that she still gets paid for holiday pay, and sick days. So she,
She would, she would
you
get,
have,
she would get 1575 times 24 times 20 times 52.
plus she would get her sick days and her holiday pay as well.
So you put that in on the budget. That's why the total's higher, so you put that her.
Right. Right.
Does she get a sick day on days that she's not supposed to be working?
She earns, according to the handbook, I think because, I think she gets 13 sick days a year. And she also gets about 3 weeks, 4 weeks vacation. The town clerk.
Even as part-time, instruct back.
Yeah, I think there was a resolution done, back in the day that gave part-time people sick days and vacation days.
She covered with insurance too.
I thought you had to do, I thought you had to do 32 hours. She gets 30, or something like that. Or
30,
30.
30 hours.
She's 24 hours. a
Well,
week.
I know we, I know.
I mean, we can check that, but I was thinking that the resolution I saw was based on part-time employment.
I mean, I remember we got into those days, 32 or more.
Yeah, I don't recall the resolution saying anything about hours. Now, I could be wrong. But I'll check it out. But that's why I adjusted that up for sick days and holiday. Sick days, holidays, and vacation days. Okay, the town hall building added the cleaning, cleaning service. We've basically not had anyone, we've not, had anyone doing that. And so, we've talked about splitting that between town hall, the welcome center, and the kitchen. So, I put 2,500 in here in this budget to kind of split it up. And, we're sharing the cost of that. Lee, on the low bid that we had, she has not been able to get a hold of it. Because we tried to get them to come and start, back before the pandemic, and that's not happened. Haven't been able to get a hold of it. So, I think she may be going to the next low bid. They were a little bit higher, so we compensated for that. But it was, obviously that's their business, their professional services. So that's that. Ashley asked for a revenue line item in the Visitor Information Center for merchandise purchases, so I added that. Basically, the amount in the request line for on transfer to the kitchen would be, it's the difference between what she's not showing in revenue and what she's showing in expenses, and that's at $135,070. As we move into the other government expenses, let's see, a whole lot of change. The mayor and I were discussing this morning that we do have the 4th of July Freedom Fest in there, which I've heard that Johnson City's already canceled their 4th of July celebration. So that would be a decision that the board would need to make about our Freedom Fest.
So cancel that, say what $60,000, but they didn't crowd.
I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on it because I've spent all weekend throwing it around in my head.
I think it's really too late to cancel for us. I mean, I see them, they'll have a lot of money. If they had to cancel, they'd do a lot of money.
We
We
don't
don't have,
we don't have
close it
any-
because we don't have as much to lose.
People that
Can't afford.
Budget for it.
People stay in their
Decide
car.
before we order the fireworks.
People can stay in their car.
Yeah, how long was the,
We just couldn't do all that other stuff.
It'll be nice to see before we order the fireworks.
yeah, how long do we think to get fireworks?
The
They just go
the
while
receipts I
Williams
have
don't
last
make-
year showed that they were ordered in, I think the Granny's fireworks were gotten in June. And at the end of May, I think they were maybe ordering the things that they have to order from online that go with the fireworks.
We got
That's our biggest expense.
We do have $125,000 budgeted in there for the trail extension from County Unicoi to Irwin. The pavilion's finished. Buffalo Connector is still going on. Roadscapes is finished. We did do a budget amendment for the playground back, I don't know, a couple of months ago. It's my understanding now that we don't have to pay for any of that through our budget, that the health department will pay for all the expenses. So the budget amendment that we did, we didn't need to do. But at the time, I thought it was all funneled through us.
One time I thought we were 10,000. We could put 1,000 back. 20,000.
How
Well,
long we
you
have-
did discuss it at a retreat a year ago.
We in the meeting when that Roger, that's back when Roger, he made money, 10,000.
It was in a budget meeting.
But it was in another budget. And it never got budgeted in the budget year that we're in right now.
They got figures on that, yeah. That 20,000 will be what we need to do.
What's the progress on that?
That's the progress report on the playground.
Yeah.
Um,
Have they bought materials and stuff?
They have
Got some
purchased some materials. There's not been any work started to my knowledge, but we did receive an extension
Okay.
to December. And that all of the grants that were like that have been extended to December because of COVID. So we do have much more time.
Yeah, the reason I was asking is they have to make that start.
Yes, it did. But we had asked originally for a 6-week extension because we weren't gonna meet that. And then we were done one better and they called and said, everybody's getting an extension until December. So
Okay, moving to the next section, public safety, the Unicoi Volunteer Fire Department. You've probably seen the letters I sent, out in the email. Their request was for a $40,000 appropriation, a $40,000, to pay for fire truck payments, I guess, on a purchase of a fire truck. And another 18,000 for air packs and equipment. So it totaled $98,000.
Okay, first question is that new fire truck an absolute necessity, or is that a want to make us look like New York City or Philadelphia, some big city fire?
I think they should have planned a little better for these
Yeah,
expenses,
obviously,
not
yeah.
just all of a sudden say, I want.
Similar vendors.
Robert. I mean,
I got that told me.
Me and Johnny was meeting after I was go back.
Yeah.
They told me to walk to Robert, and they looked at Robert, and they said that go back around, but a lot of this is not. We were doing 10,000 a year extra on a truck. I don't know what that last pay, this pay.
We paid it off 2 or 3 years ago.
10,000 a year, we should get next.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that in the last couple of years, so that must have been a few years back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the
Well-
previous year's budget, it did go over, but the reason that it did is because, we did some paving in their parking lot. And it did, make them go over budget, I think. Yeah, we did, 43,326, and that was, part of that was paving of their parking lot.
Yeah, I think we ought to hold off on that extra until we see that sales tax revenue, see some kind of figures on
Yeah.
that.
We just hold off on it.
Well-
When we get through this thing, see, we're gonna have to go back through.
Yeah, we have to do it.
I mean, we-
somewhere.
Probably have another-
Okay.
Yeah. And I started to get into what they start spending that money on. That's not my business. But they don't need to spend it on the truck. They need to spend it on the safety equipment.
Can-
We would run down here with 5 years.
Yeah.
On
That
safety
equipment, they can
equipment,
get grants on that, 15,000, that's a good grant.
yeah.
The air
and-
packs and things, is that what you're talking about?
yeah,
There is, I know from my past that we did a grant and we got a lot of air packs and it was done through a
Yeah.
grant. Now, I don't know if the county, the volunteer fire department is a different situation than being a city fire department. I don't know if that had anything to do with the grant, but
Everyone has to ask you. We're kind of buying grants or no, should be back. Some of the things are.
I mean, we can help them write the grant, you know. Actually, Dustin is actually decent at that type of stuff. Devil, yeah.
So what are we looking at for the budget? Okay.
you've been having 40,800. I changed it on the budget.
Are we taking it down?
The Unicoi County 911. They requested 7,500. And,
And we are using them more now. So
We-
that's a pretty reasonable
Yeah,
request.
Since we're tied in with them now with the in government. On our part, for sure.
okay, animal control salaries, we did a budget amendment, I don't know when that was, December, November.
Yeah.
We increased it, to match, I believe, the county, went to 45,726. And their request now is $60,000.
okay. I'd like to address that because we've asked for 2 years for new interlocal agreement. At which time they could reduce one of those animal control officers or whatever. But we have now gone to everything in the county. In fact, we've got a request for a veterans guy using the state model on that, the same as what we do for the ambulance. And then the records that we get every month are showing that we're getting about 15% of the benefit. So I'd like for them to come back in and redo that thing. I mean, that's an old.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna apologize, but since I've been on the board, I have not heard a request from them all to rewrite that in a local agreement. There has not been a request.
Oh,
to
yeah,
rewrite that.
we've asked for it every year in our budget.
It has, and I've been in the budget meeting, so I'm just gonna have to take it, but I don't remember hearing that at all. Now, if we want to get rid of that second, being a board member, that would help out the animal shelter quite a bit. It has been a real strain, but it was verbiage from the town of Unicoi that put pressure on to make sure we had that second animal control officer.
Well,
And that's where
everything,
that came from.
everything, the ambulance, the veterans staff, everything is going to the state model. Bubba requested based on the state model. And I think that we should be closer to the state model. And that.
What is this state model that you're referring to?
13% county Unicoi. The county is actually like about 65%.
You mean the funding
Funding,
scheme that
yes.
associates with the animal, where the, excuse me, where the ambulance service funding system?
Yeah.
That's what you're referring to as state model.
Yes.
So that's what we really. Service thing.
Anything that's a three municipality agreement, that's what everybody's going to. I think that needs to be looked at because, you know, the second animal control officer, I mean, they've got one, but they don't have a truck.
I have to trade off, yeah. I mean, trade off.
Is our one and the county going on that model, is that what they're giving?
They're going on everything else, on the ambulance, on the veterans.
I assume that that's what they're doing.
I think it needs to be taken a look at.
Well, if we're gonna turn around and do this for veterans, we usually give the veterans 500. Well, now they're splitting it up like that. So this is a good opportunity to say, well, look, if we're gonna be doing this, let's look into this on animal shelter too, because it, I mean, folks, it's pretty obvious. That we're not just serving that. That's the rest of the county.
Well, they're not gonna drive around because that wastes fuel and wastes time.
Well, I've got 2 or 3 lists of complaints in there right now that I'm gonna bring forward. People that they're not, they're complaining, they're not getting service. I'm not speaking, I'm speaking to the people that are complaining. And they're saying, we're not out here, and they're not only that, but they can't get them to answer the phone, they get them to return calls. We're just not getting the service. listen, I was the one, I was the first person that went to the county and asked the county if we could start an animal shelter. So don't peg me as being against the animal shelter. I'm not against it.
No,
And
no,
don't
no.
tell
telling
me
you.
it's been good. I've thought it one right.
I know you have, no,
And
But
donated
I just kept
food.
hearing that word state plan.
That's not what-
The state plan was vague. I thought, what do you mean by state plan? That's what I want.
We need to do something.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. And I also, let's rework that in our local agreement. It's putting a strain on the shelter right now. If, you know, and the pressure to keep that second officer. It didn't come from Roanoke County. It didn't come from Roanoke County.
We would see if-
But I've never seen a request come through. I'm on it.
Thing
I'm on
of
it.
it is, if we complain about not getting service,
Yes, it's recorded.
if we complain about not getting service out here, then they added another officer, and then they charged us, that's not, that doesn't sound right to me. Because
Everybody's same, it's not the same.
Everybody's the same.
No.
You look at the, they're requesting 60,000 from each entity, but then you look at
Numbers, yeah.
the numbers and it's waste you, not much in input.
yeah, you break that down per animal, that's really.
Oh, you break it down per capita, and that's the population, and it's more explainable.
Yeah, that's what
It's more
the state thing
explainable.
is, it goes by
I'm
population.
talking about service, how many animals you pick up. You talk about it in terms of density.
And,
You know, residential as opposed to agricultural, that's another reason there aren't as many animals.
but the state model is based, everything gets split.
I'm
according
fine
to
with that.
population.
I'm fine with that.
See what states, you know, you just have some states and other towns.
Okay, what would our percent would be, what, 13%?
That's what we are on the
What would
ambulance.
that, what would that end up being?
Of the total of the
Total
rate.
of what
It would be like 13,000, 20,000. 13% of the 180,000.
we- 180 is what they- from three counties.
You say 13%,
13%.
23,000.
But how it's funded is gonna have to be written in the interlocal agreement as well.
Yeah.
Agree on that.
Yeah, I'll bring that up to the board. We'll work
Would
on that.
if you get county.
I don't care. We'll work on that.
So do you want to make a change here or just wait or?
You're gonna use the fire department.
I think you wait and then we can always go to
We'll
the.
come back later. Just wait.
Okay,
Leave
but I'll be
just
with the board.
leave it open and see what they did. You know, I
Do
mean,
you want to leave it at where it was budgeted to start with? I mean, before, in this fiscal year, you want to leave it at that rate as opposed to the 60?
I
Or-
don't
Yeah.
really know.
Just leave it 45 for now. I'm telling you folks, we're gonna be coming back.
And did we,
Yeah.
now, did we decide on the Unicoi Fire Department 40,000? Is that correct? That's what we did with that?
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing.
45.
40/80. 40/80 is
Yeah, but
what-
she said it was a tariff, she said it was a capital.
Well, no, the original budget had 40,880 and it was off $80. So we did an amendment and reduced it to $80 to 40,800. So do you want to put that back to 40,800?
I already made a note on my head that we did it.
I really appreciate
I didn't-
that.
That way we didn't go in, they got what they got last year.
40,800.
You know, if we leave it at 40, then we could always increase it with Steve that we have some extra. So that's another angle to look at.
Okay, where were we?
What are we doing?
45.
45 just as a flood fee.
Oh, that's-
I think she was talking about the fire department.
40, I mean, 40.
Okay, the next line item is the emergency medical services ambulance. That's the interlocal agreement. Now, I thought it was 28,340.
Yeah, they're actually want to vote on their budget this afternoon, and they have us. in my mess here. 25,900. But we do have, we voted to put a cap on it of 28,340.
It's 25, we're going to have
Yeah, that was budgeted to
The
25,900.
lowest, the interlocal agreement was 28,340, right?
Is that
Yeah.
in here? No, our request.
No, I'm on the board.
Yeah, I know, but was there a request?
No, because we had an interlocal agreement. It was already signed back.
Okay, but the animal shelter came, that's why I
Oh.
thought they would come, sorry. Sorry.
Let's get them off the roof.
What?
Animal shelter in your local roof.
It was a request. I don't know, I haven't seen the interlocal agreement. with
The
the
interlocal
shelter.
agreement talks about that request.
I mean, can they request more money if you have an interlocal agreement at 28,000?
It depends on. The animal
25,900.
shelter board started out with whatever it takes.
So is the emergency medical that way?
Because I know.
Right there,
One
certain
thing
reason.
is that search and rescue line, higher line, correct? No, search and rescue.
Recommend search and rescue.
They're actually getting money, search and rescue. The hospital is going to give them a bunch of money for equipment. And Owen and the county are pitching in too, so
Yeah.
they didn't send a formal thing, but if we did anything, it would be 1,500.
Isn't there a cap on
We
the
didn't see
ambulance?
anything.
That's the cap, is the 28,000.
Okay, report.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay. Well, that was just something I think that was budgeted. I'm not sure, but I mean, I think that came from here.
That might be.
I think it was just an amount to budget, you know, for, I mean, the original budget was 11,752, and it was lowered with the budget amendment to 5,000. And we've not,
I remember we were talking about making some kind of area down there along that street on the right hand side, right on down into some kind of a wetland thing, or.
Leeds Road, behind Leeds
Back
Road.
to our property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like where they messed you so right.
Right, where Bryce Cemetery, whatever it is.
And one on Goods Road, I guess you can still go in behind David Buchanan down there if you need to. Stop there. He's what, the third or fourth house up there?
That Massachusetts plan, that was early.
We want to carry some of that money forward on the, but, hey, could we use that, some of that 108,000?
Yes. probably. That letter.
Yeah.
That's so maybe. Okay.
That's one of our biggest problems.
all right, so you want to put 5 in?
Well, we're still putting in the budget, what, I mean.
Okay, but are you saying if you want it to be part of the 108 or?
I want it to be part of the 108.
Yeah.
But on this line item, do we still leave it blank?
No, we'll put it there, but I'll also put something there whenever I redo it, so that it's gonna be part of that grant.
Put in eight.
Let me mention something to y'all to consider. Thinking about that 108,000. The rules say there has to be a separate application for each component of what you want to use it for. And if you do a resolution, it's got to be a separate application. So you don't want to, you're gonna do flooding on Massachusetts, flooding here, and, you know, you might want to make that more all encompassing, so we're not duplicating paperwork.
So what you're saying, is if we decide to come back, we can work on the left hand side. of that map.
Yeah, try to,
That would be good.
I think it makes sense to try to combine the projects as much as you can. You know, to be faithful to what you're using it for. You want to take care of flooding on Massachusetts and take care of flooding somewhere else. Break that down, but have it one project.
It might be better suited to be in a Department of Public Works and not in this public safety section.
So, we put anything in that line item?
Well, you talked about the 8,000, but why don't we keep going and see
Come
if
back.
there's a better place?
All right.
Because I'm thinking the street, if we do anything about roads, that's gonna be in Public Works Department. I think it'd be better to keep it all in the same section instead of having part of it here, part of it there.
Because if we combine the Massachusetts thing, it's gonna be more.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna put that back to 0. And then we're gonna move forward, see what we've done up with. Okay, so the next section is Public Works. If you all are ready to move to the next section, good.
We're busy on the public works. We don't have anything in finish that maintenance building burn up. If we brought a couple houses, they can bathroom done, they can fire done, they can ditch drugs and all that. Where's that? That's.
You know,
You just 11,000 this year.
well, you've got 10,000 that was budgeted in new equipment purchase. And I know Kathy mentioned at one time something about a hot box, asphalt thing. And I don't know if that's that 10,000. I don't know, because I didn't do this. It wasn't.
No, it's not,
Okay.
no,
Was the 10,000 for the maintenance building?
10,000 maintenance building, and somebody moved it, I can order, somebody moved the line item, and disappeared off. Maintenance building, or disappeared on, and then I thought it brought it back, somebody brought it back.
Because you also have a new maintenance building addition that's budgeted in this year. I'm talking about in this year. So,
Oh, that's what they want to add to, they want to add the building out there. They want to bring out the shed like one, that's what that is. They know.
Why don't we use that money in this year's budget to do the bathroom?
We got it, it's been plumbed in on the stuff, electrician we had one time. I thought it would work. I thought they told me to do it. Iron on there, I've been running it, I get. Really, we can get in trouble, we know. We just have to- We gotta get these usually,
That building can come under government.
but I wouldn't ask somebody to sign off on it, the building inspector sign off on it, and it's not done like that. Everything, so I'm just saying.
Road, yes, council.
We got running. Line down there. Wire that field. They don't have a heat in there. We really want to put that in there, and they got some temporary stuff there, there's no power on. On the power. That's what there's that 10,000.
I'm gonna start making a list.
Yeah, but we have to have something. Yeah,
Because, I mean, it can cover a lot.
Where do you want to put that?
Keep finishing this stuff up.
Well, yeah, we need.
And
I
what we
thought
can,
that they were.
Some people, I mean,
assumed
somebody
that's
may-
what they were working
No, they don't do so much of this.
on. Building
So
maintenance,
do you want to put, in building maintenance, would that be, to do the electrical and all that? Or you wanting to put that in building maintenance or
It was
in the
completion- it's
bathroom? I don't know.
Completion of it, we had a maintenance bill, new maintenance bill, at $50,000. $10,000. Finish it with somebody, overtime, pulled it up, line item, but in the line item, and
well, it's building maintenance, a lot of it be all right. with it.
but
Yeah.
could we put it in if we can get it through our grant, the government, latest grant?
we need to finish it, we need to go and finish this stuff. We need to
Yeah,
finish it.
We need to put 10,000 in building maintenance. Is that right?
Yeah.
And is that something that will be done in-house?
Well,
Yeah, they pretty well,
They can do pretty much of it, then
get down to electric, they'll have to hire an electrician to do that. They do the rest,
What is the rest?
plumbing and.
The plumbing and the,
wall, Plumbing and. But the ditch out there to it, they'll do that.
we did it with the visitor center, remember, right now.
are you saying that that's gonna come from the grant, the state grant?
I'm making
No, we need to
I
get
just put
that,
that direct,
I'm just making.
we got to.
In other words, we don't have to wait on it. I'm sure that that 100,000.
Just put it like overload.
Yeah, it's gonna be winter time before you know
Do
it.
it.
That's
We've
right.
been messing up, cleaning it over and over and over.
One of us is gonna be killed over.
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, now so we've got the 10,000 in there for building maintenance, and that's to do, plumbing and pay to have the electric done, and did you say something about a bathroom? Okay, so street maintenance and repair, there's budgeted $350,000. And I wanted to go over something that, when we were talking about, this 108,000. You don't need, I'm just making this suggestion. You don't need to look at it as like it's new money. Let's add another 800,000 to our budget. Let's see where we can put it to, like say, for example, if you wanted to do roads, let's say you want to spend all the 108 on roads. You wouldn't add it to the 350. You would reduce whatever you want to come out of roads, coming out of the 108,000. In other words, to me, two good things that we have going for us is the 108,000 and the fact that we don't have $175,000 to pay to the school. That's good news for us because that's quite a bit of money right there. If you take the 175 and you take the 108, because I just feel like we're going to have to be very conservative because we don't know what's going to happen.
Like chemistry, you're going to. Say, not this year, we can't, not even, that 175,000, they want to know what's going to get. And they say, we're not expecting 175,000. We expect, 75.
Well, why do we have to give them anything?
I know we don't, I'm trying to say, we're not going to do anything this year, we can't.
Well, I mean,
You don't give
we
them
already get, your tax dollars go, man, like everybody else.
We get short end stick on all
I don't see why we have to keep giving outside the town.
Well, we need to think about in that calculation, in that response, that across the board, across the state, they're questioning whether, without sales tax money. The question is, will we actually get that? Because that's the calculation. So that needs to be our answer this year. Is we don't know what we're gonna get. The state's telling us we might get, instead of that 175,000, we might get 16.
What I'm saying.
85,000.
We don't have it. Money's not there, we're not going to have it.
So we gotta look at it, not make it count.
I think this is money to help you get through this
And we're not gonna have
pandemic
it.
that, And if you had a road project or you had this or that, this money can help you do that.
Well,
And keep going.
Good thing about the governor's money is when you write it down there that you're gonna do that road, you have to do that road.
Yeah, and they're very specific on what, it has to be in the resolution, what you're doing. They want to know, the name of the road that you're doing. And here's the thing, you need to know what it's gonna cost to do it.
We got the third
So
phase.
once we
We got
budget
the
it,
third
we
phase
don't
coming up here, we got overroad
I mean,
right now.
You
There's two of
you
them.
can't go out on a road or a road trip and say, okay, well, how much will it cost to do this? There's so many roads. But you need to look at what is the number one priority on your road list, which I think, Ogle obviously is one. I think Washington back here behind the town hall, because of this bridge project that's gonna happen down here, people are gonna be using this road. And we talked about putting speed bumps back there because they literally fly. And they're gonna be using that road. And if that road needs to be paved, if it needs speed bumps, whatever, that is now number one.
Traffic.
And I was gonna say that too.
There's more flooding, we're gonna have some more roads out there. Golf course road. I mean, I'm still here, they.
And 108,000 on paving does not go very
No, that's not, that's not. a
I mean, most of our money last year, well, this year that we're in, went to Whispering Pine. What we did. And we've not finished it.
It's just, it's about 30.
And that was a lot of money that we, come right out of your cash, pay for.
You gotta go right back to the basic idea is that when we became a town, we were told this very clearly. You don't have to pay for a fire department, you don't have to pay for a police department, you don't have to pay for a park and rec department. You do have to pay for the road.
Got to maintain what you got.
That is that's the number one thing. And so any amount of money that we can throw in there. So that all we're doing is what we promised to do all along. So we've got a decent percentage of our budget going for roads. I think that's way out
The beaches and all those together, and all that. And we don't want much flooding. It's what we didn't have very unusual. We're lucky too.
there. We've had previous boards and stuff. That pretty good. We've done a lot of things.
I still think one of those hot pots, I bought into that a long time ago. A lot of better patching that will,
They told you, so that like, down at Walmart, we had that trouble with.
6,500.
Problem, Danny, we got to do so many different things. They're small.
Oh, me, they're getting older, they do all this
Well,
stuff.
they're small.
I mean, look.
I watched a video on that hot box. For some reason, I ended up getting the video. And this, of course, this asphalt's coming out of this machine. You've got to run and hold a shovel there and then run and pack it in. And I honestly don't see how two people can do that hot box and operate that piece of equipment. Now, maybe, I've got that video, but it's just like, you better keep it moving because you're there catching this asphalt and it's coming out of this machine.
and then another benefit of that hot box was that it will recycle other tons of asphalt. So you might be able to not have to purchase, if you're doing patching.
Yeah, and I know the asphalt situation, well, what is it gonna be? Where are we gonna go get it? Bluntville? It's just,
Now, it is a petroleum product, so with the price of oil going down, asphalt's gonna have to go down.
right,
But you still gotta go out
right.
there. Production. Everybody's got their hands in that, prices may go back up.
Go ahead, David.
Anyway, I still am in favor of the hot
I
box.
think we all just.
Yeah.
We all discussed that. Michael's one was all.
They can get out there more quickly, you don't have to wait on Terry, don't have to wait on, some
Okay, so we, the 15,000, are we wanting to use part of that 350 for part of the league?
Leave the 350 there and use part of it if it's there from the government.
And let's see
Devil,
what
you
our,
know.
let's see what our list is on the governor's money and what comes up and what we use it for, and then we can just leave it, then we can adjust it. And we see what we do and what we grant money from the state. Once we get our list and we can put it in with that one. And then
Okay,
Yeah.
so only change that I see in this department so far is just the, finish the maintenance billing, $10,000.
Are we gonna put the hot box in there?
Can you take it out of the road?
Yeah, you can take it out of the road.
You got 350 there and take that hot box to the road.
Yeah, you take that.
Can we
it's
do
not
that?
that
Amy?
much.
Take the,
Leave the 350 there. And if we buy a
Leave
hot
the
box,
350 there,
make
get
it
the hot
road
box, it'll come out of that. Take it out.
Out of it. Okay, take it out of the 350.
Sure.
So we're gonna take that down to,
maintenance. Just leave
No,
the
no, just
350.
leave
Leave
it
the
350.
350. We can
Leave it
Say,
350.
say, pay.
pay it out there.
oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay,
We may come back and add another 40 or 50 grand to it, to the road budget anyhow, in the end.
Got time we need. We run. Sometimes not, might not, we run out of money, maybe.
Well, I
We gotta get-
think it'd be a good place.
I do too.
okay. So are we gonna pass over the flood mitigation maintenance line item in that budget in public works?
I think we will leave that, but it was Kevin release. With some of his. what we discussed, but we took it
You
out.
wanna wait until we do the list
Yeah,
and then we'll
that's what
come
we
back and start
started.
making adjustments?
flood mitigation, and flood mitigation maintenance. What would be maintained that we already have in place? for flood mitigation?
I don't know, cause I didn't set up that account, so I don't know.
I don't know what we're maintaining, it's like, I mean, what we're maintaining, what is leaving.
But there's $25,000 in there for this year's budget, but I'm guessing, well, I don't really know.
I think that was a hard issue was.
And I know that part of FEMA's issue with what we've been doing, going back and forth. And you move up so far and then they kick you back, a couple of steps. Cause I feel like we've done everything that they've asked us to do. And if they keep asking. But it just seems like they're saying now that we've not maintained our roads. And there's alligator cracks in the roads. And that was done before the flood. And because of that alligator cracks, it's made the roads worse because we didn't maintain the roads. Now, talking with the mayor, we had somebody come and say that our roads were in good shape. But, that's just, it's very frustrating trying to deal with them, not to mention the change in personnel. And then now, of course, they're involved in this COVID-19. And so they've moved on, but anyway, they're wanting us to provide more maintenance records and this and that. And to my knowledge, Larry had given them everything that they had asked.
We spent.
We have spent money on Larry to do this.
And we could pay.
And they came, we had to go in a couple of days with them now, all day long.
Yeah, we were
around
here.
looking at all this stuff, paying Larry to do his part. And then they came right back to us. Told us the other day that those people that were here have moved on now, we don't have. them.
Well, and one of them had done the GPS sightings, whatever they do. I forget what they called it. They were incorrect. And it wasn't anything that we did. It was what they did.
We're gonna do all the roads till we get paid, we're gonna have to pay. And shit, we said, you're 10 years now, wait.
We know roads by then.
And I can't remember. I mean, we had, this was, I know in the fall. But Larry had given me this, and this was on the FEMA roads. And I can't recall how big Oval Road is, but he had down from Terry $30,000. To pay that. I don't know if that's just labor.
No, that's about right. That's about right. It's not a long road.
Okay,
It's not
It's
real
not real
wide.
wide.
his
It's
figures
narrow
were,
and long. I mean, not
Okay.
long.
and then I had, Lauren, 5,000. Landingham, 15,000. Backus Hensley, 6,000.
Didn't we
What
do
at the
back
fire
as
department?
Hensley?
What?
Didn't we do back as Hensley?
Well, that's
No.
not essentially,
Yeah,
the
that's-
water department can do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, David.
Oh, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Let's see. Okay. On the, public welfare and donations appropriations, we've got 1,200 budgeted for miscellaneous donations. Chips, Family Violence Shelter, they requested an extra $1,000. 4-H Club, 3,000. Unicoi County Little League, 2,500. Heritage Museum did not send in anything, and I think Tina called them a couple times as well. The library did ask for an additional 1,000 to move their appropriation up to 5,000. And I will tell you that if you do move it up, you have to maintain that for maintenance of effort.
Imagination Library is 1,000, YMCA is 5.
I just started at the top and I'm at the
sorry.
middle.
I'm
Unicoi County Public Libraries, where I was on 5,000.
so sorry, okay.
Clinchfield Senior Adult Center, they were up theirs from 3,000 to 5,000. Second Harvest Food Bank, 1,000. Unicoi Church of God, the Man of Food Pantry, 2,000. They requested that last year, but they
They
didn't
didn't
get
turn
it.
in, why they didn't get it because they hadn't turned in their paperwork. They
Okay.
did this year. And,
Okay. Children's Advocacy Center, 1,000. Habitat for Humanity, we didn't get anything. I think Tina called them as well. The soil conservation increased from 2,500 to 3,000. Mock trial is at 500. Veterans Affairs, this was the, what came from the county, that amount there was in there. It seemed like it was like an interlocal agreement, right, Mayor? But it really, we don't have an interlocal agreement with them about that.
Bill's had.
That $1,697, it's a Veterans Affairs, it was included in their county letter that I sent you a copy of.
Facial.
Okay. And then the Imagination Library, 1,000, and then YMCA, 5,000.
Miscellaneous, miscellaneous, just all the needs for the ask. They don't have to have that.
Place lowest, we get 500 years. Mock trial.
It's in here.
Well, we got the mock,
It's in
we've already got the
It's
mock
already on
trial
there.
in there.
So that YMCA,
That's- So the seniors get to go with their insurance if they go, and I got very sure.
Sneakers on.
Yeah, and I got very
it's ironic that everybody's investing so much more money this year. When you really want.
Well, but their revenues are down too.
Yeah,
That's
they
why,
are.
their revenues are
Yeah,
down.
that's true. but-
YMCA doesn't have basketball teams, doesn't have volleyball, doesn't have the child care, doesn't have all that stuff. So they're,
But we're getting hit the same way.
So they just have to reduce.
what is
Keep it
the,
down. went up 1,000. Should we just keep it how we had it for 2,000? Yeah. Let's see, just go down each one.
Yeah,
Say, well, let's just go down each one.
Those
see
things
what
like
we
that, those.
I'd keep this the same.
Yeah.
want. 2,000.
I know that,
We get it all.
okay, we're gonna get there. Okay, keeping chips at 2 or what?
What did it about the problem about? Which one is the one she always asks me for? Isn't she library board? I used to be able to hear. No, Jill Memphis.
Oh, that may be right.
I believe Jill Memphis.
They did request me.
One of that amount.
Now, we agreed on the new chicks, 2,000, what we do the money. Okay, now we're on the next one. On the 4-H clubs, 3,000. They didn't ask me, I think prior to that, this is just the first time that we haven't given you.
That's another request.
They did this year. On the previous year, if you look over here where it's the audited numbers, we did give them 3,000 in the 18-19 year. I think they just got left off this year, like some of the others had gotten left off.
What how does the 4-H help this 4-H good and helping us? I know they come out, Marty had talked about some of them coming and helping with that project too. They got a lot of kids that are involved in it. helping.
Senior center open.
Oh, wow, oh, I don't know.
No, I don't think there's people gathering down there.
I don't like gathering anywhere.
No, they're not doing
I'll tell you, buddy, tell you, John. I'll go talk to you, buddy. Yeah, I heard you.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, Mark,
Yeah,
Mark,
Mark.
she didn't put in.
I know that was. I was kidding about that. Mark,
They're on the 4-H, what are we thinking?
before, we don't get a request.
And they did get the request.
Yeah, we got it in.
So are we gonna stay with the 3,000? Is that what you want to donate or you want to ask? Okay, give them a little bit or?
We're probably going there.
Yeah, that's right. We're going back over again. We're going back over.
Yeah, we're being back.
If it's like a little bit now, we know somebody.
You know, a lot of these
Doing a
letters,
little surgery now.
a lot of these
Major
letters are really
surgery.
good to explain what they do with their funds, but some of them don't. And so part of it, you don't really know why they're asking.
And that bed is there, we don't.
Well, and I know my really good friend Renee has really pushed soil conservation, but what does soil conservation do? And there's nothing in the letter, and I know y'all are involved in soil conservation, but what do they do? Why do they need
There's a lot of
$3,000?
soil conservation service with a lot of money. Money that comes in.
Great.
Help landowners with everything from conservation practices to water management, like flooding. Anything that has to do with livestock, erosion, anything like that. So there's several, there's like $200,000 coming down, I think, came down last year. And what you do is you apply for it, and then they send their specialists out, and then they, it's like grant money that they give the people, and then what they do that 3 days.
The giveaway, does that come from them? So what is this $3,000?
How
Where
does
would
it help
it-
us?
Where does it go? Why, how does it get spent?
The-
It's being requested.
For what?
Soil conservation. This $3,000, where will it go and what will it be?
It goes to the operation. Yeah, district office. Office.
Does it impact our own
Oh,
town?
yeah.
Okay, so that's,
People don't realize it, but that soil conservation. Yeah, it hit the wall.
then we can leave it at,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I just wanted that.
Yeah,
question
I
answered.
wanna- I'll tell you
And I
what's
got
real
it.
good,
Thank you.
That Unicoi Church God, $2,000, they do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And that, yeah.
Well,
and
I was
they do.
reading their letter.
They need, I'll be like a month.
And they got it in the previous, but they didn't turn in their paperwork last year, so they didn't like last year. It is, it's for a good cause, and also the second harvest too, the thousand, second harvest.
Famine. They are, they're doing
Now, the library asked for 1,000 more.
we don't wanna get stuck
No,
on that.
we, no, I started looking for it, well, I mean.
Not this time.
the public
No, but what I'm
library.
saying, leave it at 4.
Take that back down.
Because what we're not
We
reading.
got a certain amount we have to get forward, I think.
Yeah, let's keep it at 4.
Yeah, let's just stick it forward.
We have to do that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to back up a little bit. The 4-H club, did you all make? What?
No, we didn't really say on the 4-H club. Are we gonna put the 4-H? We didn't really
What
say
was
what
it
it.
doing for it?
I think 4-H. Um, I know they go into the
But
school,
at the same time, now you're in a rural.
but I'm not
very rural
talking
right
about
here.
kids
That's-
out here on Marlton. I'm
Well,
talking about kids that go to 4-H camp that they pay. Which is fun and good.
Yeah, we didn't, but we did chips. We went down to 2,000 on chips because that's what we had projected. We had full on the 4-H, since they want 3, why not 2, since we did chips. They wanted 3, and we gave them 2. So
You never offer. You
They sure
never.
is.
Yeah, I'm here, but I'm not-
Because I always ask for
I've
more.
always
I think that's what people
asked more.
expect, ask for more.
Yeah, that's right. And then that's good. We say, yeah, you're right. That's what we.
Okay, I'm okay to go down to
And then
2,000 on
I need the 4-H. 2,000 on chips. Then
I don't know if the league's gonna ever play this spring. Well, it's
They're
next
having a hard
spring we're
time.
talking
They were
about.
really, I'm struggling for the draft, and all that stuff, when the kids playing, and a bunch I know that Eric at the hospital.
Carol. Yeah,
a
Carol.
bunch of them over here.
if you want to cut it to 2,000, that's 500. The other we cut 1,000 from 3,000 to 2,000 on the, which you hear, that's
I
500.
don't believe I did really. 4-H.
So that's what I'm saying. When 4-H, we're getting
Just give them
2,000. I said,
2,000.
yeah, I would give them.
I got 2,000. I give 2,000.
Give them 2,000. Doug, are people? Are they getting out a little later?
And the public library, we have to keep it at 4,000. Right? Library, 4,000.
Senior adult center.
3,000, yeah, let's go back. to
Second
I
hardest
was saying
league.
that
You know, really,
1,000 is
if
good
we,
for
if we're in a position where we're gonna have to cut. like, then we go back to what we were paying. Go back to that.
Well, second hardest, I think that is, because I know they do a lot of much, but they feed a lot of people.
Yeah,
They
they-
are. So I think 1,000, I think that's reasonable compared to a lot. of some
Food
of the
bank,
other-
they'll do the same on that too.
What are we,
Are we
Yeah.
children,
I
Dave?
think what you said.
We're leaving it.
Yeah, that's good policy. They got, I think, the house in Irwin, take your kids,
Got that.
children.
Children's Advocacy Center, they interview children. Yeah.
There's not an art.
Yeah, they interview children and involve them. Crime.
What we decide on the
It's a state-
social
it's
station?
a court, soil conservation.
Soil conservation. I thought
We hadn't
were
got to
gonna
that
leave.
yet. We're talking about that, children's advocacy.
I think we're leaving it,
Do we just leave that
Leave
one,
it
not
the
give
same.
them one,
same thing.
that $1,000? Now, soil conservation, you said that was good. They wanted 20, they asked for 20, I mean, our budget was for 25. They asked 3,000, so the 25, what we gave it last year.
Yeah.
So last year. Mock trial, and I would say that's a good thing. I think that helps.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so
I
that
agree.
one,
Well, I don't know.
think we could leave.
Bad thing about it.
You
turned out
can
to be
think what you
lawyers.
want to think, but I was involved in mock trial, and it's a good thing, so it better get it.
Go get lawyer jokes today on us.
That's just earn lawyer.
You can say what you want to say. not on the
We might
stage.
need one of them
Schultz
one
saying
day,
saying
Donnie.
Schultz, But
We might have.
Oh,
We might
I
need.
do. I like Dave a lot.
I think he's raised.
His brother was.
What about the veterans affairs?
Veterans Affairs.
now this is a new request.
Yeah.
Folks, we did not sign on to it.
No.
That's one of the, and that would be, so we wouldn't be involved. It'd be a conflict of interest, I mean, you get involved with the.
Just go down there and ask him some facts about
Them
it.
$5 most would ever give.
You still willing to get, tell them through our budget, we're willing to get 500. We're looking over our budget, we're having to cut very.
This guy here, he's gonna,
Yeah, he does down here. And that's separate from what they do.
I mean,
No, I just-
I
I just
know,
kidding,
I
I was
was really,
kidding.
I was here, but I think
I was just
500,
kidding, because
I
he
think
always gives us a
500
hard
would be
time.
good. And we are on, we are being fair on the board. Now, imaginary library, 1,000.
Yeah, we didn't give them anything this year because they didn't make it to the budget. I don't know what,
They
I
had
don't know.
1,000 last year, they didn't go in late, Larry.
I think we
There
have
were
budget.
several items that were dropped. We went back and looked hard, because as it kept coming up, and there were several items that were dropped from this discussion. Which, you know, a little hard to follow, because we're going to have different ideas. You know, whatever came out of the meeting, there were several things that got dropped between the meeting and the topic.
That's why we go back and do another meeting with them. Because like I said, I know some things. that
Yeah.
approved
I'm
and
trying, because at the beginning of this year, I'm trying to be real careful about, I don't remember, y'all.
You're right, boys, that's what we, I brought it up too, we got.
But we can go back over.
We'll go back, we'll go back.
What is, no, on software that we have actually 500, now it's showing that we've got it for 1,000. 2018, I think.
You're talking about Imagination Library?
500.
Yeah, and I just put down what they requested in the approved column just to see what we was.
Well, I don't know what that YMCA is. That's a big donation.
Was there a letter for the YMCA thing? Am I missing? Maybe
Yes.
All right, I'm funneled through my papers.
No, let's see, let's see.
I'm just curious, I'm just.
Yeah, I think there's, yeah, that.
I don't know why she doesn't have them on the list.
And
I was thinking they had a letter.
Yeah. They didn't, we haven't given them any that's like
What do
in
you
the
think?
past. We haven't
We
given
used
them.
to do that.
Last couple of years we have.
We talked about the YMCA. I did not see anything on there.
Yes. Don't know.
What are you saying, Heather?
She doesn't have anything on the list under requested or under YMCA. So I'm thinking that they didn't submit anything.
I wonder where that comes
You know, I thought that we had on the code. Cat.
One year was like
We
28
kept
hours.
a cat figure on there that we have to go on.
I'll have to check that out, Kathy. See.
We raised.
Well, you want to take it off right now and then add it back, if we want to do it?
Yeah, I'll
Next
leave it
meeting.
there under requested and just make it 0, but I will check about it.
YMCA.
Yeah.
Okay,
Next.
Okay, if you want to go through to the next section, I think Ashley's bringing the food. Pretty much, the reduction in the total debt is the 175,000 that is on the hospital bond payment that goes away, which will be helpful in this situation that we're in for sure.
Last payment get paid yet?
What?
The last payment.
No, I asked them if we could split it up and we still have one more payment. It's the quarter we kind of split up in half. So, let's see. The only other thing, too, is on the next section where you're looking, there's not much there, but, interstate mowing. The audit always includes the interstate mowing and public works, which makes a little bit of a difference whenever you're looking at the way it is set up in this budget. It probably should be in public works, instead of gateway enhancement. I think this gateway enhancement is mainly for the town of Unicoi. It just seems like in the downtown area, I almost feel like we need to move that to the public works, but that's the way it was set up, and so that's where it is. But it does show up different on the audit. It shows up in public works.
What do you want? How do we?
Well, I mean, I can move it. It'll be just a matter of putting it on a different place in the budget. It's not a big deal. It's just that, to be consistent with your audit, it looks like it needs to be in another place. It doesn't have to be.
Well,
It's just me being.
public work.
I mean, you see the account number sequence is where it is because of that, and that's just the way it was set up. I don't think anybody. Yes, that is what we're reimbursed from the contract that we have with the state.
And all the other things under that are what, expenses and all that's the highest amount on that. That's the
Yeah.
amount, too.
Yeah, it's kind of, to me, it looks like it's a little out of place. That's just me. So do y'all want to break for lunch now? And
I guess so.
it's 15 to 12, by the time we get the table set.
Oh, you need to turn it off. For lunch? Are you gonna film us eat lunch?
Oh,
We're doing advertising.